11:25, 5 Live. Let's continue our conversation with Sian Evans, who was calling the British government effectively hypocritical for what she says is a practice of turning away women from countries abroad who say they have been raped there and who claim asylum here. Sian Evans, you said that 70% of women in Yarlswood Immigration Centre say they have been raped back home. How would officials at the Home Office be able to find out if they were telling the truth or not?
Well, I think the first thing has to be that the Home Office officials are determined to find ways to refuse women. We say that women, it's like an active process of finding some reason to disbelieve someone.
How can they tell that what is true or not?
I think if you hear women speaking, like you've heard Noella and you've heard Lily, I think you can hear the distress and the detail. You know, it's a question of helping women report what's happened, giving them the chance to really report in detail what's happened to them, and listening to what they're saying and having a starting point of an open mind. Mm-hmm. Because what we're seeing is the Home Office officials starting the process with what they've got in mind is to deport as many women as possible. And we've even seen that some, that people are being, officials are being given vouchers for meeting targets, etc. And various whistleblowers have spoken out.
Vouchers for what?
You know, for actually meeting targets.
A voucher for what, sorry?
To be able to say, that, how many people they've managed to deport this week. I mean, they're determined.
And what would the voucher bring them?
Yeah, from the Home Office.
Sure. What is the voucher for?
Oh, well, like buying something, to be able to get, as perks.
Is that true, or is that one of those urban myths?
That's what's been reported in the press by whistleblowers. I mean, the whole department, the whole Home Office is just really grimly determined to deport no matter what.
But they do have a duty to try and find out some background, some facts, do they not?
Of course. So, for example, with what happened with Noella, she was disbelieved when she reported rape late, even though the Home Office's own guidelines to its officials state that late disclosure should not be used to automatically disbelieve women.
Well, we don't know if it was because of late disclosure that they automatically disbelieved her, do we?
But when it came to her appeal hearing, and Noella's described what a horrendous experience it was, she was denied legal aid. Many women we're working with now because of the legal aid cuts.
Right, but I was saying to you, we don't know that it was because of late disclosure that the Home Office disbelieved her.
No, we do know that, because that's the case that was put in court against her by the Home Office presenting officer. And the judge did what you're describing. He listened very carefully to what Noella said. He took into account what impact rape can have on the ability to speak about what's happened to you, the ability to recall really horrendous details that you're just trying to struggle to put to the back of your mind. And he concluded that Noella was telling the truth. The Home Office then unbelievably appealed against that decision, not saying that Noella wasn't telling the truth now. They weren't challenging the telling her truth, but saying she could still go back to Sierra Leone even though all her only remaining family members are in this country.
So what were the grounds for appeal then?
That was their grounds of appeal, on some legal nicety about her, what legal test was being applied about whether she could be sent back to Sierra Leone or not. And in fact, what Noella was facing many more months battling, even before she went back to an appeal hearing where the Home Office were going to put this case, just to get legal aid, to get a lawyer. And it was at a hearing to discuss when the appeal would actually take place that a judge stepped in and said, I'm not going to adjourn your case again while you fight to get a lawyer. I'm actually going to rule here and now that I'm going to throw out the Home Office appeal and you've got the right to stay, which was just, you can imagine, just such a tremendous relief. But I think people listening will hear that that's not a description of a fair process. That's a description of officials just determined, no matter what, to find a way to refuse women. And I think that's what's happened to Lily as well.
Let me ask you a broad question about the conference, the summit that has been happening this week over a number of days. Do you have any faith that lots of people gathering in London and writing protocols can have any effect on fighters, rebels, soldiers around the world engaged in conflict, stopping raping women?
If this government did what it ought to do here, right here. And I'm not just talking about rape survivors seeking asylum. You know, we've got a horrendous conviction rate here of 6%. Women routinely reporting rape in the UK are disbelieved, and they're being imprisoned as well. They're being accused of false accusations of rape. In the context of that, the idea that the government is pointing the finger elsewhere, it needs to clean up right now. It needs to show it means it when it says it supports victims of rape and that it's a priority for everyone. It needs to start with its own officials. Okay. We found that 88% of women reporting rape as grounds of asylum were disbelieved by Home Office in their first asylum claim decision. 88%.
Thank you for talking to us. Sian Evans from Women Against Rape.